Warning, we sometimes use swear words on this podcast. Hi, we're on cue.
I'm Liz. I'm a music supervisor.
I'm Trish. I'm a film director, and we are going to dish about music and movies and life.
And 1986.
Hell yeah. Let's back up and tell everybody how this came about, Liz. We got a nice piece of mail. We love mail. We got a nice piece of mail from Jennifer. And she says a lot of wonderful things. Thank you for all those compliments. And then she also said, I keep thinking it would be cool for you two to pick a specific tweenage time. Just pick 1 year. And then do an episode discussing who you were that year and what movies and songs you were into. Just an idea. That's a good idea.
I love that.
Yeah. So we're going to take it and run with it, Jennifer.
We chose 1986.
It was a big year. A lot happened in 1986.
There was some great music, great films, great culture. Wasn't my best year.
No?
No, I was struggling a little bit with coming out as a leser. My friends were amazing and supportive. My family found it hard. You know, I'm from an Irish Catholic family. It wasn't the easiest thing for them. It wasn't so easy in the 80s, just living your life as a gay woman, as it maybe is today on the East and West Coast. I know it's not in the whole of America. So it was a little tough, but listen, I found my salvation in music and movies. You know how much I love my music and movies, and that was a big part of my life. I discovered so much stuff that year. So there was a lot of great things that came out of 86 for me.
Wow.
How was 86 for you?
I was not struggling with coming out as a leser in 1986. I was struggling with trying to find a boyfriend. And I was struggling with just like being awkward and ridiculous as people are in their teenage years. It's interesting to look back at what was going on in the world and how we felt. Maybe we should sort of frame up for people, remind people what was going on in the world. Ronald Reagan was the president in the U.S.
Okay.
Margaret Thatcher was the prime minister in the U.K. 1986 was the year of the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. It was the year of Chernobyl. Yes. Yeah, there were some pretty big world disasters that year. But it was also the year of Hands Across America. Remember that?
God, yeah.
It was the first inductees in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay.
I personally was very into figure skating that year. I'm not figure skating myself, but I was like a rabid Brian Boitano fan and also Debbie Thomas. It was a big year for figure skating. I think both of them might have won the world championships. I'm not sure, but there was a lot of figure skating consumption in my house.
Not something that was present in my world too much, but happy for you that it was.
Thank you. Halley's Comet came close to Earth that year. So there was a lot of like sky gazing, which was cool. Sade won Best New Artist at the Grammys.
Yes.
Guns N' Roses signed with Geffen Records. This was the year that Geraldo opened Al Capone's vault. Remember that? Was that a big deal in the UK?
Never heard of that in my life.
It was like this big deal that Geraldo goes down into Al Capone's tomb or vault or whatever. And they're like, can't wait to see what's in there. And it was basically nothing. It was like a big nothing burger and super embarrassing. I thought embarrassing for Geraldo.
Is his body in there? Is his body in there?
I don't think anything was in there. But yeah, that happened. I think this was the year the Oprah Winfrey show went national. This is the year.
I know Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson got married.
Oh, that was the year of that too?
Yeah. Something that you and I know we'd be very happy about. Phantom of the Opera premieres in London.
Phantom of the Opera. That was a big thing for a lot of us back in the day.
I did actually go to see it.
Did you? No, I did. Well, I saw it later when it came to the U.S.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there.
What?
Oh my God, what do you think I thought of it?
It doesn't really seem up your creek.
I was an indie kid that was phasing out of being a goth, and I went to see Phantom of the Opera with my mum. Wasn't for me.
I would pay good money to be a fly on the wall of young Liz with her mom, gothed out and going to the London premiere of Phantom of the Opera.
I do remember my mom was like, Elizabeth, you can't go out dressed like that to see Phantom of the Opera. I was like, you know what? This is one place I can go to dressed like that. Phantom of the Opera, can't I?
You can. Yeah. That's right. I mean, let's get into fashion and stuff too. But first, maybe we should talk about some of the music and movies that we were into, as Jen suggests.
Okay.
What were you watching? What were you listening to? Give us some samples.
Well, my favorite film, I think, that year was Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved that film with Bob Hoskins. It kind of blew my mind. I used to go to the movies every Tuesday night with my friend, and we would see whatever came out. And so I didn't know that much about film then. I wasn't a very sophisticated film goer. I'd just go and see whatever came out.
Sure.
I didn't really know much about what that film was. And it very much, to this day, stayed in my mind as a great film. I don't know if it is a film that has aged well, but for me, it made a real impact on my life. I thought it was great. Kathy Tyson was in it. Bob Hoskins, who I love, he was just a great actor. I was listening to, I'm going to go with my favorites here. I suppose the first piece of music I want to shout out is the Cocteau Twins. You know my love for the Cocteau Twins, and they were big in 86. They had 2 albums released that year, one called Victoria Land and one called The Moon and the Melodies with Harold Budd, which was a collaboration. Honestly, they're both not my favorite Cocteau Twins albums, but I still love them so much. And my favorite track from The Moon and the Melodies is called Sea Swallow Me.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. This takes me back. Yeah.
The Cocteau Twins do take me back.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a very recognizable 80s sound. I don't listen to a lot of them anymore, but whenever I hear their music, I'm back in the 80s.
Yeah, me too. Me too. That's like a real instant wormhole back to that time for me as well.
It was so funny because when I first heard the Cocteaus, which was probably about 82, 83, I had never heard anything musically like them. And it was one of those moments we've spoken about where you just stop what you're doing and your ears prick up. I'd never heard a voice like Liz Fraser's and her gobbledygook lyrics.
Yeah.
You know, I just fell in love with them at that moment.
Oh, I can see that. I think we all kind of did back in the day.
What were you listening to, Trish, in 1986?
I had a fairly wide-ranging taste in music at the time. Something that it just doesn't apply anymore is the fact that we, like it or not, most of us were hearing the same songs on the radio all the time. What albums you went to go buy and what you chose to do outside of radio hours was your business. But the fact is, since we didn't have the internet, you couldn't carry your musical collection around with you in your pocket like you can now. There was just a certain amount of music that we all knew and listened to, whether we loved it or not. Because when you're driving around in your car or whatnot, that's just all you have. I was listening to a lot of pop music. I don't know if I'm proud of this or not. Steve Winwood's big album, Back in the High Life Again, it won Record of the Year, I hear. That was very big for me and my friends. Okay. I went back to listen to some of it again. I remember in particular the song Freedom Over Spill. And My Love Is Leaving, but also his big hits from that album, Finer Things and Higher Love. I went back and listened to them just last night, and they're so much thinner. They are a lot less lush and soulful than I remember them. I don't know if they hold up as well as I would like, to be honest.
But they did for you back then.
Oh, yeah. The entire summer of 1986, my friends and I were hitching rides in our parents' station wagons over to the community pools, with our tote bags full of like Saint-Tropez tanning oil. And
I know what that smells like.
That smell will take you right back to 1986. It will also take me back to Steve Winwood. It's all sort of this vortex in my mind of what it felt like that summer to just lay out on a tinfoil mat trying to fry my white girl skin, listening to this album and feeling like this might be the year when I finally become a woman.
It's funny, when I think of you as you're talking about what you were like back then, we could not be more different. It would have been raining, pissing down. I would have been wearing a lot of black from head to toe, no sunshine, no Saint-Tropez.
No.
Different worlds away we are from each other.
I mean, I will say I was also really into Depeche Mode, and they were going through a little bit of their goth phase right now, because that was the year that Black Celebration came out. And
one of my favorites.
Me too. And I will say I actually went to see Depeche Mode play at Merriweather Post Pavilion outside of DC, went to their show. This was one of the first live shows on that kind of scale that I went to as a kid. Went to see Black Celebration, wore all black lipstick, black nails, I had a studded jacket, like a studded leather jacket that I would pull out for events like that. So I had that side to me too.
Yeah, no, I get it. You've got several dimensions to you. I just had the black clothes, spiky hair, and indie music side in 1986. Actually, that's not quite true because I was listening to everything. I loved Prince. I loved that Peter Gabriel album, So. I went on holiday and I remember sitting on the beach with my Walkman listening to So quite a lot and heading in and out of the sea and getting a tan. I had to go back with a good tan.
Of course you did. I mean,
Yeah.
you had a little of that in you. You had a little of that in you.
I did have some of that in me, actually.
I mean, you know the smell of Saint-Tropez by heart. So
I do.
that says
I-
something.
I was using it on that vacation, but I was listening to like New Order and Susie and the Banshees, and I loved the Eurythmics.
Me too. I loved all of those bands.
Yeah, I loved it. I listened to so much radio. When songs come on the radio now, I know every friggin' word to all of those songs, even though I wasn't really into a lot of that music, because that's how we consumed our music. That's the only way we could do it. So I was kind of waiting for the songs that I wanted to hear to come on and had to listen to everything else in the meantime. But I also just got into CDs. I was buying vinyl. I spent way too much money on vinyl and CDs because any spare money I had, I just bought records.
Yeah, no, I did too. I think we all did because you couldn't just, like we said, fire up Spotify and hear whatever you wanted. You had to wait with your finger on the record button.
Yeah.
Right? Of the cassette player. We used to listen to on Q107 in DC, the top 5 at 10. And so they're going to play the top 5 songs and you just, were hoping that your song was in there and ready to push record. Or we would listen to like Rick Dees and the top 40 every weekend. Sometimes you would just record the entire top 40 hoping that your songs were in there. But you're right. We had to just listen to all the music in order to hear the stuff we liked, which is why I think a lot of us had more eclectic taste back then because you couldn't just have custom playlists at your beck and call all the time.
I think that's it. I listened to so much music and so much music that wasn't really my taste. I used to listen to John Peel. He was my favorite DJ. He played so much new music. I used to listen to Janice Long. I couldn't wait for their shows to come on at 7 and 10 o'clock at night. And I'd be there every night listening to them and hearing all of this new music, heading out to the record shop the next day to go and buy it.
Yeah, we used to listen to college radio a lot because they would at least play more indie rock or more up and coming stuff than the top 40 or the rock and roll stations in DC. Also, this was when I was starting to get a lot of my music from TV. I was a real MTV addict. And these were the days when, you mentioned the Peter Gabriel album. And of course, Sledgehammer was the big video breakout hit and really elevated music videos. And I was watching a lot of MTV. That was the year of Addicted to Love with the Robert Palmer girls and all of that stuff. That was the year, you mentioned the Eurythmics. Missionary Man was of that year, which was a really iconic video.
Well, I was born an original sinner. I was born from original sin. And if I had $1 bill for all the things I've
remember ZZ Top? They had a number of videos that year that were bonkers.
Yeah, I do remember that. We had a show, I think it might have started that year, called The Chart Show. I watched any kind of music show. My favorite show was a show called The Tube, and it was amazing. It was every Friday. I think it was at 5 o'clock. It would just be like a really cool radio show, but in a TV show.
Yeah.
So it had lots of new bands that you didn't know about, but then it would get big bands that would come and play live. It was like a live music show. But then the chart show, it kept running down charts, but it would do indie charts and it would do this chart and that chart. So you just watch loads of videos because we didn't have MTV channel or anything like that. So I was like hungry to see all of these videos and things. And that was the only place I could see them.
Of course. Yeah. I forget that at that time, that was still a super American thing, I guess. I think my favorite music video of the time, I don't know if this would have made it across the pond to you guys in any real way, but I was very into Run DMC.
Yes.
And they had a video for their song, It's Tricky.
Yeah.
Which was so, did you guys have that over there?
Yeah.
It was I think the most amazing video I've ever seen.
It's tricky to rock around, that's right, on time, it's tricky. It's tricky.
So you have Penn and Teller in there. They are the magicians. You know, one of them doesn't talk and they're these illusionists. And they're running these like street scams in New York. I don't even know if it's in New York. They're like running these street scams at the beginning of the video. And this is back when music videos were a whole fucking story, a whole world. So they're running these street scams, ripping people off, and someone calls Run DMC, and in they come riding in like some kind of vehicle that's plush purple, like purple shag carpet, and they roll up to the scene. It's so amazing. They sing about how it's tricky, and then they teach Penn and Teller to dance, and Penn and Teller are these, white guys who can't dance, and then the whole video ends up with basically Penn and Teller ripping off Run DMC. 6 months later, Penn and Teller are on stage in Japan trying to sing It's Tricky as these two bumbling white dudes having ripped off Run DMC. I mean, I don't know if anybody is making sense of this as I'm trying to recreate it, but it is truly glorious heyday of MTV and of music videos. I think Run DMC was genius.
Yeah, I love that band.
That was a great time. That album, Raising Hell, was amazing. I listened to it back to back multiple times a day.
Did you?
Yeah.
What mischief did you get up to in 1986?
Well, we weren't driving legally yet, my friends and me. We were too young. So we drove illegally. Late at night, we would sneak out of our houses, and my friend Rachel, I don't know if I should say her name, would steal her parents' very fancy BMW and drive over and pick us up, me and my friend Ricky and my friend Daisha, Lara, sometimes Miranda. We would jump in the car and we would drive out to the University of Maryland, where Daisha lived, to pick her up. And we would drive around the college campus trying to pick up older men and teaching ourselves and each other to drive on this like very, very, very late model BMW when we were way, way too young to be. It never occurred to us like, hey, what if we get pulled over on our way home or our way out? Didn't matter. Yeah. We did it anyway.
How much older were the men that you were trying to pick up? What, 25, 35?
No, because they were college kids. So like 10 years older. But I mean, we never picked anybody up. We tried. But I mean, it was late at night. This would be like 2:00 in the morning on a Wednesday. And to our young minds, we thought like, oh, college kids will be out partying at 2:00 on a Wednesday. Let's go get them. And they're not, as it turns out. We would just drive around the desolate parking lots of the University of Maryland in College Park. But we got really good driving experience in. I mean, I wonder if our parents were sort of like, wow, when you get your permit and your parents take you out to start to learn driving, like, how do they know how to drive so well already?
Yeah. Now, why didn't you go out on a Friday or Saturday? You might have had more luck.
Well, it was a lot harder to sneak out on those nights because your parents are coming and going late. And also, there were like parties and other things we wanted to do. But on a weeknight, nothing else going on. Your parents are in bed early. You hit it.
Got it.
What were you up to?
Well, I used to go to a club called the Underground in Croydon every Friday night. I was a kind of loose goth by 86. I don't mean in that way. I was phasing out of being a goth, I suppose. I was also hanging out in some gay clubs
Yeah, sure.
with my best friend Alison, who was straight.
Okay.
I wouldn't go to any of them unless she came with me and pretended to be my girlfriend, which sort of defeated the whole point of going. So we would get there and she'd be like, come on now, you got to go off on your own and maybe find someone. And as soon as, or if anyone came up to me, I'd be like, no, I'm here with my girlfriend.
That's right.
And she'd be like, hang on a minute, this isn't how it's supposed to be. I thought you wanted to come and meet someone. And we used to just sit and hold hands so that
Aw.
nobody would come over, really. And she was like, I don't think this is how it's supposed to be. But I enjoyed it and we would go and dance to fantabulous music. Yeah, that was 1986 for me.
We used to go down on a Friday and Saturday night to the 930 Club and the Fifth Column and the Black Cat, which are all clubs in DC. And back then, they were very loose with who they let in. There wasn't a lot of carding going on. We did get fake IDs. We went to some sketchy guy's basement and we held up an Alabama license plate template in front of our face, and they shoot the photo and then laminate it. And so it looks like a legit Alabama license, except that we all had the same name and the same birthday because it was one one form that everybody stands behind and holds it up. So if they glance real quick at it, we could all get away with it. But as soon as they started to notice that all of us had the same name and birthday, they would kick us out. But yeah, we used to go down to the clubs in DC, and they were in a neighborhood at the time. It's since become quite gentrified, but they were in a neighborhood at the time that was not particularly safe for young girls late at night. So our parents wouldn't let us go. But I don't think my parents listened to this podcast, so I feel safe saying it. We went anyway.
I know for sure mine don't, and they didn't know that I used to go to. Oh, they knew I used to go to the underground, but they didn't know I used to head off to all little gay clubs.
Yeah.
You know what? I tried to be a little more colourful when I went out to the gay clubs. When I was in the underground, I was black from top to bottom. Sometimes I'd sugar water my hair, but I had moved on from being a goth. But it used to get on my tits because I used to go to gigs and stuff, and then it would just collapse because you'd get so hot.
Yeah.
And it just all used to just collapse all over your face. So I'm like, I've had enough of that. I don't want to do that anymore. But to the gay clubs, I was trying to be a new me because I wasn't like, I'm not a goth anymore.
Were you into the look that a lot of us were doing in the day of like the power suits, even if we weren't professional people, which we weren't because we were kids?
Yeah.
You know, boxy, oversized blazers and shoulder pads and belts on the outside of a turtleneck, that kind of shit. Just like I'm a fucking badass businesswoman kind of look.
No.
You weren't doing that?
Wasn't really doing that. I was a denim jacket or a leather jacket,
Yeah.
a black jean or a jean,
Okay.
a trainer, probably. As I got a bit older, I kind of ventured into the boot.
Yeah.
I might have actually just got my first pair of DMs at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I was rocking the androgynous look for sure.
Would you do parachute pants? You didn't do parachute pants?
No, actually, maybe I did. Maybe I had one pair of parachute pants. I think I did, actually.
I mean, I
Yeah.
can kind of picture that for you. I did some parachute pants. What about overalls with a crop top underneath?
No, that was a little too butch for me. I got to say, there were a lot of girls at the club that did the overalls with a vest or whatever you call it, a wife beater.
Yeah, I would do
Underneath.
the overalls with like a mesh crop top under it, like a neon mesh. I guess this was a little late.
Oh,
for
neon.
Well, I think neon was already kind of on the way out, but I probably still would have done it.
It wasn't the mesh. It was more the mask leathers that would do the dungarees and the wife beater underneath.
Yeah. Yeah. No, mine was not butch. It was like fishnet, like pink fishnet with a
good Lord.
baggy jumpsuit over it. And I did a lot of leg warmers, as I still do. We all know this about me.
You do.
Fingerless gloves, like all that shit's never gone out of style in my world.
I was quite into an ankle boot for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't really do a leg warmer. I did a kind of suede ankle boot, and then I progressed to a leather one with like 3 straps across it.
Oh, nice.
You know, yeah,
Yeah. What about Ray-Bans?
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I had black Ray-Bans. When I was older, I got some tortoise shell because they were a bit softer. But when I
Yeah.
was younger, I was full on black Ray-Bans.
Like the risky business ones.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you?
I did too. Well, this is, of course, 1986 is the year Top Gun came out. And that, for me, was a very seminal moment in my personal development. I simultaneously fell in love with Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise and Kelly McGillis all at the same time. I also took to wearing Wayfair glasses, which aren't very flattering on my face. I look like a Saint Bernard when I wear those, but that's what they wore in Top Gun. So that's what I was wearing. And I was listening to the Top Gun soundtrack a lot.
Take my breath away.
Take my breath away. Take my breath away.
Oh, hell yeah. I was having sexual dreams. Like literally waking up with that song in my head. That song is like my sexual awakening in a song.
So you fell in love with Kelly McGillis? Because I did fall in love with Kelly McGillis. I thought, oh, she is fucking gorgeous. And I had a massive crush on her. And then we all come to find later on, she's a leser.
Yeah, I think we all felt
didn't-
it at the time.
I think I might have felt it at the time. I think she's got to be one of my first proper film crushes.
I mean, me too. And it was confusing because I was equally turned on by all of them. Anyway, that was an important time for me.
I can see that with all those three. I was just happy with one.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, another important film for me, I think that came out that year was Blue Velvet.
Yes.
Isabella Rossellini. That was a moment for me.
Yeah.
But that was a funny old film. I'd never seen a film like Blue Velvet, and it was a little bit disturbing. I found that a hard watch.
Yeah. I don't think I was ready for David Lynch at that time.
No, I don't know if I was quite ready for David Lynch.
I think I was not ready for David Lynch, and I was more into, that was the year Ferris Bueller came out. That was the year Stand By Me came out. And
Oh, yeah.
those movies that were, I think, geared more toward young people, I really resonated with those.
Yeah, yeah.
That was also the year The Color Purple came out.
Yes.
And I remember going to that with my family in the movie theater and being quite moved by that film as well. Of course, 9.5 Weeks came out that year. We've talked about that movie on this podcast too. Very important for those of us who were young and hormonal.
Sid and Nancy came out that year.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman.
Prime Gary Oldman.
That was good.
Platoon came out that year. I also saw that with my family. She's Gotta Have It came out that year.
Oh, yes.
It was a big year for movies.
Aliens.
That's right.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yep. Do you remember Something Wild? That came out that year too.
Oh, I
Did you ever see that? Something Wild. It was Melanie Griffith, Ray Liotta, Jeff Daniels. It was this wild ass movie, comedy thriller kind of thing with great music. I just remember thinking Melanie Griffith was just about the coolest person ever in that film. She has like a black bob and these sunglasses and she's real feisty. I mean,
Should I check it out?
I don't know that it ages well. I remember being in the movie theater thinking that it was so sexy and edgy, but for all I know, it falls flat now, to be honest. I'm not sure.
Oh.
Yeah. Liz, should we have a shot right now since we're doing 80s shots for cocktails? You want one right now?
I do.
I do too.
What are we going to do?
Well, I thought we would do a B52 bomber shot.
Yes. Oh, my God. I was truthfully drinking B52s in 1986 with Harvey Wallbangers.
That is so fucking badass. I think I was too young to be drinking yet, but this is the kind of thing I would be drinking. And I certainly liked the band, the B52s. So I did not invent this cocktail, although it turns out there are sort of unlimited possibilities for mixing and matching and making your own version of these. But let's go make ourselves a B52.
Okay.
Be right back. So we're going to do these B52 shots. The classic B52 has Kahlua on the bottom, Bailey's in the middle, and then Grand Marnier or Cointreau on the top. And it should be the three distinct layers, like the creamy Bailey's in the middle separates the other two. How does yours look?
Not great. Mine is all starting to bleed together.
Mine is too. Should we chug it before it goes any further?
Let's chug it. Cheers.
Okay. Cheers.
Oh! Takes me back.
Damn.
My mouth now tastes like an orange cream chocolate. I love that.
Isn't that nice?
Mmm.
Mine tastes like an all-inclusive vacation somewhere like on the cheapest bar package you can get.
Really?
I mean, it's not bad, but mine tastes like a hangover.
Oh, no. Mine tastes like a nice orange cream.
It's not going to stop me from continuing.
Yeah,
Something that I
sorry.
wanted to talk about from 1986. It was a stellar year for one-hit wonders.
Oh, yes, it was.
Let's get into this. Do you
Mhm.
remember the song Tarzan Boy?
Of course I do.
I did not know that the band's name was Baltimora. Did you know?
Yeah, I think they were from like Milan.
I wonder what happened to them. I mean, that is a legit one-hit wonder, right? They never were seen or heard from again on any...
No. Do you remember that
Yeah.
video?
No, what was the video like?
I think the guy was just running around in a loincloth.
Oh, I do remember that. I do remember that. Yeah, as he should be. I mean, what else? Your song is Tarzan Boy. What you would be failing civilization if you didn't run around in a loincloth. Do you have any favorite one-hit wonders? Because there were quite a few good ones.
Rock Me Amadeus by Falco.
That one is so solid.
Now come and rock me, I'm a day, stupid.
I loved that song. I thought it was brilliant. First time I heard it, I thought it said Fuck Me Amadeus. I was like, what?
Yeah, it sounded like Fuck Me Amadeus. I remember that. I
Yeah.
had the cassette single for that song.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. I wore it out in the car stereo. Sure did.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
I've got a couple. I'm going to give honorable mention to Let's Go All the Way by Sly Fox.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But my favorite, Future So Bright I Gotta Wear Shades by
Yeah,
Timbuk3.
loved that. Loved that.
I'm doing alright, getting good grades. The future's so bright. I gotta wear shades. I gotta wear shades.
I remember all the seniors at my high school that year putting the lyrics to that song as their quote next to their photograph in the yearbook because it was such a sort of bright and shiny, we got the world by the balls kind of moment. I don't know what happened to Timbuk3, but
No.
yeah.
No, I don't know what happened to them.
What's interesting to me about The Future So Bright I Gotta Wear Shades, that song to me doesn't sound like a one-hit wonder. Do you know what I mean? Like when you hear Rock Me Amadeus or Tarzan Boy, it's so outrageous and silly and weird and gimmicky. You can kind of see how that one song popped through all the noise for that one band. But the Timbuk3 song really, I mean, it sounds like a real song that should have had a real band that had a real future behind it, to my
Yeah.
mind.
For sure. I think Tarzan Boy feels like the absolute epitome of a one-hit wonder. Falco even, I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind hearing a bit more. Like Nana, 99 Luftballons, wasn't from this year. But that was a one-hit wonder too. But they felt like a proper band, didn't
Yeah,
they?
you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Any others you want to mention? Maybe I Want to Be a Cowboy, Boys Don't Cry, Hanging on a
Oh.
Heart Attack by Device. Do you
Not-
remember either of
but
those?
I do remember those. Not something that I was listening to that much. Can I just tell you, 1986 was when the Smiths released the Queen is Dead album. As you can see, I'm wearing my Smiths Queen is Dead t-shirt. There Is a Light That Never Goes Out from the album, of course, is my probably all-time favorite song.
And if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side is such a heavenly way to die.
Sometimes it's hard for me to talk about that because we all know how Morrissey is these days. But
Yeah.
back in 1986, I loved Morrissey. I loved Johnny Marr. I loved the Smiths. They were my absolute favorite band. Probably the most important album of my adolescence is The Queen is Dead. I saw the Smiths play live at Brixton Academy that year and I cried. It was the first gig I ever cried at. It was the most amazing gig of my life. So I just had to shout that out. It was a big moment for me musically, The Queen is Dead.
Yeah, that's a pretty seismic moment in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So let's all take a moment to acknowledge that.
Yeah, I think silence is appropriate at this time.
Now, some of the things that I was listening to, Alive and Kicking, Simple Minds.
Oh, yes. Okay.
How about a little Mr. Broken Wings and Kyrie?
Oh, no. That's not. No. What, did you like that?
No, not really, but it was on the radio a lot. So do I know every word? Yes, I do.
Yeah, I do too, sadly, but not one of my favorites.
It was a good year for Prince and the Revolution.
Yes.
That was the year Kiss came out.
I listened to a lot of Prince that year.
So did I. It was a good year for the Fat Boys. 00 Fat Boys came out that year. Are you a
Okay.
Fat Boys fan?
Not really, but I did love, this might surprise you, Word Up by Cameo.
Oh, I love Word Up by Cameo.
Yeah.
Do your dance, do your dance, do your dance quick, mama. Come on, baby, tell me what's the word up. Everybody say, when you hear the call, you got to get it under.
I had a boyfriend, I think he's a doctor somewhere, maybe in New England now. We would listen to Cameo and Prince laying on his bed for hours at a time.
Oh, I remember Word Up being played at the Christmas party. There were two brothers. They loved to dance. And one of them fancied me. How funny is that? But he did. And
Yeah.
so he was giving it large on the dance floor to Word Up, called me up on that dance floor. We had a little dance together to Word Up. I always remember that moment.
That's pretty hot.
It wasn't really, because I was just like feeling a bit embarrassed and I kind of fancied the girl that was sat over there and not really him.
But did you like kind of make eyes to her across the floor? Because that can be kind of hot while you're up there dancing and you're really doing it for her, not for him.
I think I probably did look over a few times. I had a few drinks, which is probably good, because if I hadn't, I probably wouldn't have got up and done it.
Did you have a few B52 shots?
No, but I had a couple of Harvey Wallbangers for sure.
Damn, girl. I was going to say buttery nipples. Remember those?
Oh, yeah, buttery nipples.
I forget
No.
what's in a buttery nipple.
What is in it?
I don't know. I think Word Up is a pretty good song to dance to.
Yeah.
You know another song from 1986 that was really good to dance to?
Mm.
I don't think you're going to like this one.
Okay, go on. What is
C'est
it?
la vie, Robbie Neville.
There's only one thing left. What you wanna do? What you wanna say? That's just the way it goes. That's right. Oh yeah.
No. Not for me. Not for me.
Yeah. First of all, I didn't know that he wrote this song originally for Bo Williams, who's a gospel singer in 1984. I also didn't realize that Robbie Neville was such a badass songwriter who's written songs for the Pointer Sisters, Earth, Wind and Fire. He's produced and written for Babyface and Jessica Simpson and Destiny's Child. The guy has a legit track record as a songwriter and producer. This was his foray into performing himself. Don't listen to this song and tell me you don't want to kind of slide a B52 down your throat and do a little dancing.
Look, if a B52 was on offer and I had to listen to this song, I'm not going to say no, but I probably wouldn't put it on.
I mean, to each her own.
But I can see the attraction to this track for you.
Yeah, it's a great track. I'm not going to
Yes.
mince words here.
Okay. What about a bit of OMD if you leave?
Classic, iconic. Yeah.
I touch you once, I touch you twice. I won't let go at any price. I need you now, like I need you then. You always said we'd still be friends someday.
I think that straddles both of our worlds.
Yeah, that was an all-around people pleaser.
Mm.
Another one that might be an all-around people pleaser, King for a Day, Thompson Twins.
Yes, love it. Another one that I really loved, Life in a Northern Town, Dream Academy.
I hate that song.
Why? I love it.
I don't know. I just hate it. It makes me want to cry and not in a good way.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
really? That's
Kind of.
fine. I mean, I just poo-pooed Robbie Neville, so, you know.
Here's one we can agree on. Sweetest
Yeah.
Taboo.
Oh, yes.
Give me the sweetest taboo. That's why I'm in love with you. You give me the sweetest
Big year for Sade, as we've already discussed. Sweetest Taboo. Anybody want to fight us about that? That's one of the greatest songs ever.
Yeah, fight us all you like. You won't.
How do you feel about things like New Shoes? I can't wait.
Hey baby, tell me what is on your mind, 'cause I can't wait. Baby, do you always telephone?
No.
Well, it's a thumbs up for me.
I know. I can see that. Like, if we were DJing our party in 1986, I would expect to hear New Shoes. I can't wait in your playlist.
Followed up probably by Go See the Doctor, Cool Mo D. Do you know that song?
They said, did you get it? I said, yeah. They said, how was it? The boomthang was dope, and you know that I rocked her. But 3 days later, go see the doctor.
What about, I do like this one, True Colors, Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, that's also hard to argue with. How about Everybody Have Fun Tonight, Wang Chung?
It's okay. It's fine. It's all right. I mean, oh, you know what we've forgotten?
My Mic Sounds Nice by Salt and Pepper?
No.
Oh, what?
West End Girls, Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, shit.
In a western town, a dead end world, the eastern boys and western girls. Western girls.
That's a crossover for all of us.
All of us.
No matter what side of the universe you were coming from, you loved that song.
You loved it. And we haven't even talked really about Whitney Houston. How will I know? Always my soft spot. My guilty pleasure back in the day that I didn't admit to, but I always had a soft spot for Whitney Houston.
Amen. I know that about you, and I agree. Here's one we also haven't talked about, and I can't believe it. We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off. Jermaine Stewart, may he rest in peace.
So come on, baby, won't you show some class? Why you wanna move so fast? We don't have to take our clothes off to have a good time. Oh no.
I bet you threw a few moves down to that one back in the day.
Damn right. It's a great song. You know, we also haven't acknowledged what a great year it was for Janet Jackson, 1986.
Janet Jackson.
That was the year of the album Control, which brought us things like What Have You Done For Me Lately, Nasty, When I Think of You. Big year for Janet Jackson.
Wasn't a big Janet Jackson fan myself. It
Okay.
little over my head, but I can appreciate it.
Were you into Run DMC collaborating with Aerosmith for Walk This Way?
Oh, kind of. I mean, I enjoyed it if it was at a party.
Okay.
And I'd had a few B52s and Harvey Wallbangers. I could get down on that moment. Yes.
Okay. What about
Yeah, what-
Squirty Politti?
I kind of liked Scritti Politti, but Green Gartside, who is the lead singer of Scritti Politti, his voice sometimes used to get on my tits a bit.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, I got to mention. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Most important thing that happened in 1986,
Mm-hmm.
Kathleen was born.
Oh, man. She's so young.
She's too young, isn't she?
That's a big deal.
Let's not talk about age gaps.
No. Well, 1986, you were a year for the record books, I guess. And Jennifer, thanks for this walk down memory lane. And if anybody has things from 1986 that they want to talk about or recall or bring to our attention, please slip us an email.
Slip
or
us an
comment.
email.
Slip us a sweet, hot email dripping with Baileys, and we will chug it in one gulp.
We will.
Yeah.
Trish, it's favorite thing time, and it is your turn this week.
My favorite thing this week is the Hollywood Dog Obedience Club.
Oh, what's
Now,
that?
I know, that sounds bougie and fancy and maybe something highfalutin, but what it really is a bunch of very experienced teachers, dog handlers, and volunteers who run low cost or at least very moderately priced dog obedience classes down at the park near my house at Riverside Park, which is a big public city park. They probably do classes other places too. What I love is this is one of the only places you can take reactive or aggressive dogs for a group dog training. The classes are priced really affordably. The teachers are awesome. There are volunteers there every week who bring their own dogs to be demonstration dogs. You are in class in the middle of a park that has tennis courts, kids' playgrounds, people having birthday parties and quinceañeras nearby or whatnot. So your dog really has to get used to being distracted and being stimulated and being triggered by all these other things. The teachers are so competent and so capable. They are not scared of reactive dogs. They are not scared of aggressive dogs. They are like, come one, come all. They really passionately believe that all dogs can act civil and behave themselves when their owners or when their people know how to handle them properly. I've got these 2 young dogs. We haven't had young dogs in our house in ages. I mean, we always adopt midlife dogs. And we have sort of by accident ended up with 2 fairly young dogs. And we haven't had to train a dog from the ground up for many years. And I am just so grateful to these people because having a dog that can walk on a leash, can sit down, can stand up and wait while a vet examines them or a groomer works with them, can walk past another dog without losing their shit, can see a tennis ball without freaking out, can see a skateboard or a bicycle without, absolutely going out of their mind. It's really, really great. And I'm just so grateful to these people for running these classes. They run session after session every weekend down in the public park. Like I said, it's very affordable. And I'm just really glad they do it. I love going down there every Saturday morning and seeing everybody shows up with their dogs. Some people have, beautiful purebreds, but most people have these like ranging, wacky ass mutts of all types. And they have tiny dogs, like 3-pounders, all the way up to giant lumbering mixes. And it's just wonderful to see everybody out socializing their dog, teaching their dog to behave, and be socially acceptable. Check out the Hollywood Dog Obedience Club if you're in LA. And if you're not in LA, check out other dog clubs in your area who might be doing something similar, because I'm telling you, it is really a gift to your dog to teach them how to behave and teach them what's expected of them. It has taken so much pressure off of Flingus to understand what is expected of her in certain situations, and it's given her like a job.
Have you seen a difference in your dog since you've been going to that class?
Huge difference. I mean, first of all, I didn't think we would ever be able to leash train pastrami and Flingus because they're so wild when they see another dog, or even when they just get wound up on their leash and start jumping all over each other. Now they heel. They walk right next to us with a soft leash and a relaxed grip on the leash. They sit automatically whenever we stop.
Oh.
I never imagined we could get to this point with them. And it's only been a month that we've been going to this class.
Are they still exhibiting a soft eye?
There's still so much soft eye, thank God.
Yes, thank goodness. It's tarot time.
It's tarot time. What are we asking, Liz?
I think we're going to ask, as we're in 1986, what do the cards have to say to us if we were looking back at 1986? What advice do they have for us, for our 1986 selves?
Oh, like for our younger selves?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's give ourselves a card of advice for our young 1986 selves. Ready?
Yeah.
Aw, the Fool. The Fool.
Oh my gosh, I was such a fool.
We've never pulled the Fool card on this podcast. The Fool card is the 0 card. It's the start and the end of everything. It is the jump off a cliff without looking where you're going card. It is the just do it card. It is a card about boundless opportunities and potentials, but it's also the card about being a naive idiot. And that kind of sums up
Absolutely.
my 1986 experience. And it's interesting because going through all these movies and music from that year, I felt such an intense nostalgia. And it's so easy to look back and think like things were simpler and easier that year and in that time. And in some ways they were. We didn't have social media and we didn't have AI. We weren't quite so aware yet, at least, of the climate crisis and stuff like that. But at the same time, there was still apartheid in South Africa. There were like huge sanctions being put on South Africa, and there were some real dark and horrible things happening in the world.
I actually, in 1986, used to camp outside the South African embassy up in Trafalgar Square and protest against apartheid.
Wow. Yeah. No, that was, first of all, yay. for protests against apartheid. But yeah, it's just sometimes easy to listen to songs like Word Up or Robbie Neville or something and think that everything was sweet and innocent. Sometimes the Fool card reminds us to not be completely naive, to trust that things will work out, but to also not be overly innocent. And maybe we shouldn't look back at that time as being overly innocent. Some of the problems that we're facing today had their root in the 80s. So I guess what I would say to all of us back in 1986 is keep having a good old time out there, and also maybe don't dance yourself off a cliff after all. Don't dance right off the cliff. Dance to the edge of it, but maybe stop a little short
Yeah.
before you topple off the edge. So Liz, record of the week. First,
Yes.
you want to remind everybody how much it means to us when they send us messages.
Yes, we love to get emails from you, DMs, voicemails. You can contact us at hello@onqpodcast.com. You can also check out our Spotify page on Q, where we have all of our playlists, and you can listen to all the music we play in our show every week and our records of the week. But we do love to hear from you and to hear any ideas you'd love us to talk about or any questions you have.
Special shout out to Jennifer, who did reach out to us and is the whole reason that we got in the time machine and went back to 1986 this week. So thank you, Jennifer. We'll probably steal that idea and do other years at
For
some
sure.
point down the line.
Thank you, Jennifer.
And now for the record of the week.
Yeah, this week's record of the week is by Dean Wareham. It's called You're the Ones I Had to Betray. And Dean Wareham was originally in the band Galaxy 500. I loved that band. They had their first album in 1987. I know it's not 1986, but it's thereabouts. So that's why I
Nice
chose
tie-in.
this track. Thank you. They split up in 1991, so we do have a loose link to them. This was released back in January on Car Park Records. His album, That's the Price of Loving Me, came out at the end of March. It's a really dreamy track. It has a beautiful cello part, which you'll probably appreciate throughout the track. And it has a real 60s feel. The video is fab, and it was inspired by Mary Poppins. You know that bit when Dick Van Dyke, he jumps into the crazy chalkland?
Yeah, when they go
So-
up merry-go-round and they go bananas into the, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a great video. Thanks to Julia and Veronica at Terror Bird, who gave us approval to use it.
I love it. Can't wait to listen to it. Thank you for bringing it to us. Let's enjoy this track, and we will
See you next Tuesday.
right on cue.
Together we roll into the haze.
On Cue is produced and edited by Kathleen Gallacher.